Hello guys, TKG is here for your comfortable LostArk life. In this video, I'd like to cover the recent status and improvements that was live on the LostArk KR. As the KR region update progression are quite slightly ahead than the global, so I thought it'd be great to share some of those infos for your LostArk journey. Now follow me, I'll show you what you need. Before going in, this video will cover one of the new Wild Soul engravings, Wildness, Wild Soul. The reason is that Wildness, Wild Soul currently demonstrate stable performance and is quite well balanced. And I have experimented and experienced with other engravings called Awakening that seems quite unbalanced. And honestly, it has quite unbalanced and broken structures. So as the KL community continue to research this engraving, I put them a little aside for now and focus on building and covering the most stable engraving. Additionally, please be aware that Wild Soul is fairly new class, and because of that, the build I covering in this video might differ slightly in the future from this video. Moreover, since the official name of skills and other have not yet been released in the global LostArk, so I have personally translated that for this video. So please keep this in mind as you watch. As you expected, the Wildness Wild Soul is a character that based and uses specialization and use the critical as a secondary combat stat. Wildness is actually one of the characters that can bring many advantage when built with specialization, and simultaneously has a very high critical rate. Currently, the Wildness Wild Soul can reach about 91% critical rate with 30% from Ark Passive, 30% from the Enlightenment, and the Adrenals, legendary engraving. The most common engraving build currently in use, Grudge, Kimblong Weapon, Cursed Doll, and Hitmaster. And the last one is usually filled with either Adrenals or either Predator. But Adrenal is quite most preferred in use right now. This is due to Adrenals providing a significantly good critical rate. If you wish to exclude Adrenals, you can have an option for the Evolve Tier 2 node. Although the damage difference is not that drastically different, but Adrenals not only guarantees stable performance, but also offers flexibility for the last node in the Evolve tree. Therefore, Adrenals is widely used. In the Elixir part, critical is commonly chosen. If you want a second option, you could opt for the Master Elixir to reach the maximum critical rate efficiency about of 119%. However, as of now, the most common choice is to use critical. I'll briefly go over the skills and tripod in this video. As I mentioned earlier, there are no official name or translation for the skills and tripods yet. So I think it's better to show them mainly through the image briefly. In purpose of this video, I will focus on explaining the current Wild Soul skill structure and skill cycle. As shown directly through the skill images, Wild Soul skills can be easily identified by their colors. The current skill composition of Wild Soul is distinguished by how many of each type of skill is utilized. For instance, the 314 build, which with 4 fox skills, while the 3-3 build, which balance bear and fox skills, making it most balanced and widely used build in the Korean LostArk community. These two builds are currently the most popular and frequently used. And if I had a chance, I will introduce more details about them. However, in this video, I will cover the overall skill cycle of the Wild Soul by using the 3-3 build, which offers the highest stability with versatility. And I forgot to mention, the skill build can be changed too. Some build might use the bear skill to bear roaring skills to increase the supply of the identity. Basically, as you can see right away, the Wild Soul consisted of a total of 3 meters. The green meter is a meter that can only be filled in human form and only with green color skills. The blue meter is filled with fox form, which represent as blue fox skills. And the yellow meter is naturally filled with bear skills. The common feature of Fox and Bear skills is that when this meter is fully filled, the Z skills, which is only activated in Fox and Bear forms, become active, much like the Slayer's Bloodlust. The most common skill cycle is very simple. Fill the green meter in human form, transform into Fox to fill the Fox meter, revert to the human form to fill the green meter again, and then transform into a bear to fill the yellow meter. This cycle continues until you use the Z skills at the end. The reason for transforming back into human form is because using skills in the specific form not only fill the meter for that form but also consumes the green human meter. To use the next transformation skill, you need to refill the human meter to use enough skill in the next form. In simpler terms, it is a cycle of switching between human, fox, human, and bear forms repeatedly. Personally, for a sufficient and stable skill cycle, I always find it beneficial to constantly maintain the human form meter at around 60% to 70%. But if you look closely, there's one thing you might be curious about. This mysterious stack beside it. It looks like somewhat similar to the Slayer's Predator meter. This stack is actually detailed in the final node of the Enlightenment, which amplifies the damage of the Z skill. Upon reaching this final Enlightenment node, this becomes a crucial factor that requires some consideration within this seemingly simple skill cycle. Thus, the skill cycle of Wild Soul is roughly divided into two parts, before and after reaching this node. More specifically, the skill cycle can be categorized into pre-1640 and post-1640. So the skill cycle before level 1640 is really simple. You don't even need to think about the 3-stack during the skill cycle. You just keep switching between human, fox, human, and bear forms, and when the meter of the specific form is full, use the synergy, and then use the form's Z skills. That's all about it. Simple, right? However, the skill cycle after level 1640 might become slightly more complicated because you have to consider that final Enlightenment node. Actually, it's not really complicated, but rather there are just a few more details to pay attention to. The process of filling up the meter and cycling through the skills is quite similar. However, to maximize the damage performance, it is crucial to reach the 3-stack of that buff. So think of it this way. When the meter is sufficiently filled by using the 3 forms and allow you to reach the full meter and enabling the use of the Z skill in the same time is the most ideal skill cycle. But here's a tricky situation. What if you find yourself in a situation where your bear meter is almost full and you need to use it, but the bear skills you need to reach the 3 stacks are on cooldown? In such case, you should use skills from another form to build up the 3-stack and then switch back to the form with the ready Z skill. For example, in the situation shown in this video, you could start with using a fox skill to gain 1 stack, then switch back to using 2 bear skills to complete the 3-stack. It's important to note that leaving specific form does not reset your stack. They only disappear if you revert to the human form. So, in situation like this, mixing in a fox or bear skill to complete the 3-stack will help you optimize your skill cycle. Actually, I didn't want to mention this part, but since so many guys asked for, I decided to share some of my experience. Of course, this contains a lot of personal opinions, so please don't take it too seriously. Personally, I think the current Wild Soul is quite OP. Traditionally, newly released characters have shown outstanding performance in terms of capabilities. For example, the Slayer was like that, the Breaker was like that, and now the Soul Eater is such an example. Additionally, due to the tradition of the new class, the skill cycle is quite neat. There isn't really anything lacking. Moreover, despite being a character based on specialization, it doesn't feel inconvenient to control at all. This is because the transformation form themselves compensate for movement speed to some extent, making it an overall well-balanced character. If you're thinking of playing Wild Soul when it is released in February in global, I would strongly recommend it. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. And always, thanks for your big support. Hope this video was a help for your LostArk journey. And of course, if you like my videos, hit the sub for more upcoming infos. I'll come back with more useful infos in the next video.